Have any sort of love for amphibians, or if you've ever looked into any sort of frog, I'm sure you've come across some very beautiful ones. Red-eyed tree frogs, or possibly even there's some poop frogs out there that look really cool, even though the name may sound, a little disgusting. But these guys are my absolutely favorite frog. And if you haven't noticed, we have one, two, three, four of them right here, and they are the fringed leaf frog, or better known as Cruziohyla craspedopus, is the scientific name. And they get that name from this fringe that they have along the back legs here that you guys can see if I kind of pull the leg down. That fringe along the back leg helps them with camouflage, when they're out laying, because they are nocturnal on leaves and things of that nature, to help them camouflage from predators and, just sleep during the day and then, help them get around at night. But they've got very, very long legs, this bright yellow on the feet, and then the underbody is kind of like this same yellow color. So as you guys can see, they are big frogs. This one, female, hopefully is probably about 3 inches or so, and this is full grown. And as you guys can see here, we've also got some babies that I just recently got from the reptile show. If you guys haven't seen that video already, go back on the page, take a look at it, and you may see some of these guys that are for sale from the same person that I bought them from. But as you guys can see, there's a considerable size difference between the two. So this one here is probably about 3 to 6 months out of the water, and this one here is maybe 2 or 3 years old. And they come from the Amazon rainforest, so those lowland primary forests, very, very high up in the canopy. Brazil, Peru, Colombia, all those different countries where the rainforests are abundant with life, such as these guys. But to me, out of all the frogs that are in those areas, and trust me, there's a plethora, so many that I don't even know the scientific names or common names of all of them, but they are the most beautiful to me because it's just the white blotches along the green skin, and then they almost have these Egyptian looking, coarse brown eyes that are just piercing. And they're definitely one of my favorite animals, and an animal that I've always wanted to have here in my collection. And I did used to keep a lot of frogs previously. Like, I probably had maybe 15 different species, almost 60 frogs, all along this back wall that you guys can see back here, just absolutely filled. And now the only frogs that I have are these guys, so that should speak volumes. And luckily they're just insectivores, so these guys get the little baby crickets, these ones get the full adult crickets, and they're just amazing animals because they're great eaters. And because they also have a dry season because of where they're from, we also have to sometimes let the tank dry out, which means I don't have to mist as much, which means it's a lot less work for me. But these guys, they are farmed animals. They're not captive bred, even though that would be the perfect way to go about it, but they're expensive. And because they're so rare and they're so uncommon to catch or even see in the wild, these people that are doing the breeding, they go out and they find males, females, collect those, and then they farm raise them to send out to countries like ours. And those people, it's a very slippery slope because they're making money from selling these animals and sending them across country lines or possibly even state lines in some cases. But it's either that or they're doing logging or illegal gold mining or something else that could possibly be detrimental towards our jungles and our rainforests. So it's a slippery slope because these guys they're making money from selling these animals that come from these areas, but it's either that or they're farming or they're doing the logging or the other things that I mentioned. And all of those are very prevalent in where I was in Peru, where these guys are native to. And because, like I said, there's that bottom tier and there's that mid-level and that high canopy, these guys are up in the high canopies. So, when those trees are gone, their habitat is just destroyed. It's no longer. So they don't have a habitat to go back to, even, when, the trees and everything may be gone, because, once those are gone for them, it's over. Like, they can't go back, they can't repopulate because there's no trees for them to live in. And those trees take possibly hundreds, if not, 50 years to grow to full size, or even size enough that, they would even deem it comfortable for them to live in those. So it's a very slippery slope, like I said, guys. And, getting them farm raised means that I want to get them from someone that I can trust, and I also want to be able to, take advantage of the fact that these are a rare animal to have in the hobby and possibly even breed them. So right now I have 2 big females, and I want to get some males. That way I can possibly breed them, and then once they start breeding, I can provide those to zoos and different things around in the area that could possibly send those back to the country and repopulate them into those areas. So that's what I want to do long run, is find organizations that can do that farming, but the farming will be to reintroduce endangered species back into the environment. So these guys are luckily on the IUCN list. They're of least concern, so they're not a huge issue to be bringing in or across state lines in any way, shape, or form. So it's a good thing to be able to get one of your favorite animals and get it from someone you can trust, and also know that they're going to come to you healthy and treated for any sort of bacterias or parasites that they could possibly have coming from their natural environment. So as you guys can see, they've got the tiger striping, the blue blotches, and the eyes, and the yellow. It's so contrasty that it's just hard not to love these guys. So if you guys haven't seen these frogs before, man, let me know down in the comments, because I'd love to show them off to you guys some more. I post them on my TikTok all the time, but I don't really post them too much to my Instagram, just because I'd much rather give you guys more interesting things and go out and find stuff than just comment on some animals that I have sitting in my room. But I stare at them all day, so I figured I may as well let you guys get a good look at them, and they're just amazing animals. Fringed leaf frogs. He's thinking about jumping, so I'm gonna try and break that barrier. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, man. If you want any more sort of education on these guys, or you have any questions about frogs or anything of that nature, my biggest thing to you guys is just they do absorb bacteria and things through their skin, so my hands are clean, antibacterial, washed, and they get sprayed off pretty much every time that I bring them out of the cage, and then every time they go back into the cage, like a deep spray with the mister, just to make sure that their skin gets off any sort of bacteria that it could possibly have on it. And that's the biggest thing for me. You could wear gloves as well if you want to, nitrite gloves. That's also a great idea, to make sure that you're really not getting any sort of bacteria into their skin. But that's the biggest thing for me, guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video, man. Herp Hero signing out, man. Ciao.